Taxes freaking suck. Last year I made content on Amazon, TikTok, and now I'm trying on YouTube. And it's a full-on business. And with business comes a lot of taxes. And I've been both looking forward and dreading this day because I don't know if I owe too much money or I'm gonna get a bunch of money back. So I figured why not just vlog the day, talk about my experiences, and take out the Osmo Pocket 3. It's dead. Oh well, we have to go to our tax appointment. I've been dreading this day and also looking forward to this day because either I saved enough money or I'm gonna owe a lot of money. And I'm hoping that whatever I put away is enough and that my expenses are able to bring down my income. So unfortunately, I didn't charge my DJI Mic 2 the last time I used it, so it's completely out of juice. So I'm gonna try and charge it when I get into my truck. But if you haven't noticed, I'm using the Osmo Pocket 3 today, and I have a pretty good reason for it. And that's because I actually pulled the plug and I ended up buying the DJI Nano. And I kept going over and over in my head about whether or not I should get it. But this trip that we have coming up has got me super excited, and the fact that it's like waterproof and super portable, it made me a lot more excited to get the camera. So I just ended up pulling the plug and getting it. And as you know, this is actually made from DJI as well. So I figured that to get the most out of that camera, I'm gonna have to film in D-Log-M. And if I film in D-Log-M, I'm gonna need to color grade. So I'm shooting right now in D-Log, and I will start practicing color grading and seeing how that comes out. And I have a crazy story. Well, not crazy, but pretty funny, is that I'm so impulsive that I ended up, last night I stayed up way too late, and when I get tired, I'm really impulsive. I ended up like researching the Action 6 as well, and I bought the DJI Action 6. And luckily I was still able to return it, because when I thought about it, when like I made the decision, I'm like, dude, what am I doing? I ended up realizing that I'm just being impulsive, so I canceled the order. But I ordered the DJI Nano and the Action 6. I still do want it, but I just don't think right now buying two cameras, you know, this happened to me before where I just have a bunch of cameras and I don't use them. So I think that if anything, I should master the DJI Nano, or at least wait till I get some money back on my tax return if I do. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with the cameras. But hopefully, you know, I was like thinking to myself, you know, I have the DJI mic, and then I have this, and then, you know, just getting one grade for everything and getting used to the color grading on DJI or D-Log-M, then I could make some really good footage. So yeah, I'm gonna try this camera again. Sorry, Insta360 X5, we're not playing today. I know the channel's small, but I want to keep doing camera reviews and stuff. So one day, maybe if I post this video and DJI or Insta360 sees this and my channel finally blows up, maybe they'd be interested in sending me one of their cameras, like the DJI Action 6 or the Insta360 Go Ultra or the Action Pro 2. I'd love to test it out. I think that's a pretty good idea. I think we should, aside from trying to get in a sponsorship, I think it would be super cool if, let's say, every day I just vlog with a different camera. So like one day I can just do all of my phone, and then I can use the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro, and then we can take out the GoPro, even though we don't normally vlog with the GoPro and we have like no accessories. And then we can do the Insta360, and then we can do all the Nano, and it would be sick, I think. So anyways, I'm gonna head to my tax appointment. So anyways, we're headed to my tax appointment right now. I had to wait this long because my tax papers didn't fully come in. I'm actually missing a statement from Walmart, because I did Walmart seller last year. I was selling products from Hawaii. I was also missing my TikTok tax form, and well, that's a tongue twister. But what happened was I got banned like last month, and they hadn't released my 1099s yet. And because they didn't release my 1099, I didn't have my tax information. And then when I got banned, I couldn't access my account. So I'm over here trying to figure out what my income is, and the default is check your bank statements. And I'm like, holy crap. Before, the way that TikTok would send me money wasn't in like a chunk, like how Amazon would pay me once every 2 months. TikTok paid me daily. So I had like sometimes multiple times daily. So I would get like $1, $2, $3, $5, $5, $2 all on one day. And there was so much volume on there. It was hard to capture all the way back from last January. And the other hard part about it is that, I hope my audio catches because I don't have my DJI mic. But yeah, the hard part about it is when these companies pay you, they're not paying you for the day that you made the money. There's actually like a little buffer period. So you actually made that money back in earlier in the year. So when they pay you, that's when they actually release the money. So you have to actually backdate it to when you actually earned that money, which could have been months before, or sorry, like weeks before. And I don't know when that date was. I only know the day that they paid me, right? Let's, for example, say that they paid me on January 14. In theory, I could have made that money on December 31st, and that would have counted to the previous year. And they don't tell you what date that is. I mean, I guess they do if they release your 1099, but they're over here like not giving me my tax form, and I'm like, yo, I'm banned. I need to get my tax forms. And they're like, we're sorry, you can't access your account. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to get my tax forms. And yeah, it's just a big mess. So the best option that I got was to calculate all the money that went into my bank account. So I had to go into my bank account, and luckily, can you imagine if we didn't live in a digital age where everything was able to be accessed and you could filter through everything? If I would have to go line by line everything, that would be crazy. But I ended up going onto my bank, and then I filtered it by TikTok, and then I screenshotted every page of TikTok statements, and then I input that into ChatGPT, and I said, check all these statements and tell me what my net total that was for 2025. And then it spit out my number, and then from there I overestimated so that I have enough information so that I'm not underpaying. I don't want to get in trouble. So that's that. Luckily, the 6 figures I made on Amazon, they released a 1099 statement. I got that. And then I was also waiting on Robinhood and public.com, where I have like my Roth IRAs, my brokerages. So that took a little while. Finally got those, so I'm pretty excited today. I put a lot of money aside. I'm still not sure if it's enough, just because there's a lot of things that it's so complicated. Like, I have a business and I have myself, and I didn't pay myself on paper, but there was times where money went into an account and I was trying to pay it. Like, I learned my lesson. I have to really keep a good record of everything that I put into my account that goes in, everything that comes out, and I have to separate my business and personal always. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a long story. I don't even want to go into it, but yeah, pretty much just keep business, personal. Pay yourself out of the S Corp, and yeah. Anyways, this isn't tax advice. This is just my game plan. This is just what I was waiting for, and yeah, hopefully this thing gets resolved and I can get back to feeling okay. And I don't know if this thing is charging. Does this thing charge? Let me see. I wonder if it's plugged in, if it'll work. Will it detect if it's like this? It does. Oh my god, how's the audio on this now? Is it better? Oh my god, I forgot to I was talking on here and I forgot which exit to take, and now I'm taking the long way. It's already 8:15. My tax appointment is at 9 o'clock. And I'm sketching out right now because I have the Osmo Pocket 3 on my magnetic phone stand, using the magnetic backing on the Osmo Pocket 3, and I don't know how stable it is. Even my phone falls off of this thing sometimes, so you know, it's kind of scary. But let me show you what that looks like, where we're at right now. So we're just driving. I obviously took the wrong turn. I'm not supposed to be here, but man, I'm hoping that this footage comes out sick, because I think I really got to start using my cameras more, man. Like, even vlogging the daily stuff, the daily boring stuff that no one else likes to watch, because that's what makes vlogs. Like, you can't just wait for super exciting things to happen. You just have to make your daily your daily habits and your daily rituals part of your vlogging. At least that's what I think. And I guess the only reason I'm saying that is because like I really just got to use all these cameras that I buy, and then I'll at least feel justified. Like, hey, I use all my equipment, and yeah, that's my little TED talk. I've had like this epiphany, I guess is what you call it, and you know, I started using the Insta360 X5, and I was like, I need to start using this thing more, and it's a great vlogging camera. And then I'm like, yo, I really want the DJI Nano, and then now I'm using the Osmo Pocket 3, and I'm realizing now that they don't have to compete with each other, but one camera is good at doing certain things. Like for example, I can't replace the Insta360 X5. There's absolutely no way, because what that allows me to do is I don't have to really think about what I'm doing and getting the exposure right and all that stuff, and I just hit one button, I have it recording, and it captures everything. Is it the best image quality? No, but neither is this camera or the DJI Nano, but this looks a little more cinematic, I'd say, at least, assuming that I get the color grading correct. The Insta360 X5 is just a durable camera that can get wet, and I can actually enjoy myself in the experience without really having to think. But then there's a lot more work in post, because since I'm not taking time to frame the shot, I have to do that later on. But the color is already vibrant out of the camera, but it's not always a look that I want to go for. Sometimes it's too vibrant, and I don't know, I'm not really like a camera expert, but I think with the 8-bit color, it does something. They try to compensate for not being 10-bit color, so they oversaturate the image. But with the Osmo Pocket 3, you actually have, like, I've seen videos where people are filming with this camera, and they get videos that look just like movies. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. But with the DJI Nano, you get a nice POV shot, and you can stick that thing anywhere. Granted, I've made all my cameras magnetic. That's one thing, if there's one thing to take away from my lessons learned over the past week, is that creating a camera setup where it can be magnetic changes everything, because there's so many things that are magnetic, and being able to put your camera wherever you want makes filming so much easier and makes getting unique shots so much easier. So yeah, I think having a magnetic backing on any of your cameras is just a good idea in general. So if you don't have one, if you have a GoPro, if you have a Insta360, whatever you have, even if you have a phone, then get a magnetic mount so you can stick it onto a fridge and get these unique angles and stuff. And I think that's what really makes your vlogs feel different, is when you have these unique angles and you can switch it up. And you know, each camera in its own right has an ability to kind of track you, whereas like the Insta360 X5, you just film everything and then you draw a box around your face and then it follows you, and then this camera will auto track your face. And then with the Go Ultra, you just stick that thing anywhere right in front of your face. Sorry, the DJI Nano, you just stick it in front of your face, and whatever it sees right there is, you know, it's your face. I think I've done a lot of rambling, so I'm gonna shut up for now, and I'm just gonna head on over to my tax appointment. So I just went into Starbucks and I tried to get a nitro cold brew in a Trenta size, and apparently I did not know this, that the nitro cold brew only goes up to grande, which is like, I guess, you know, like a medium. And what I tried to order was a Trenta, which is like an extra large. And they're like, no, we can't do it. We can only do a cold brew. And I was like, why don't we just put it into a Trenta cup and call it a cold brew, right? And they're like, no, Starbucks put a cap on it because the nitro cold brew has so much caffeine in it. So they had to limit it to just, you know, a grande. That's their way of limiting you. And in my head, I'm like, that's so dumb, because if I wanted to, I could literally just order 2 grandes, right? And then I'd have way more than a Trenta. So it makes no sense. Starbucks will probably never hear this, but they should change it so that you can have a Trenta Nitro Cold Brew. Or I'm gonna just stop ordering the thing altogether, because why would I get something that I have to get a medium in when I drink a Trenta? So I ended up just ordering the Trenta regular cold brew, which, yeah, it is what it is. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Why the heck am I going to H&R Block, right? Well, I have a good reason. So I don't actually normally go to H&R Block, but I actually own a business and I use H&R Block's business tax company, it's called Block Advisors, as my tax advisors, my tax consultants. And unfortunately, my tax advisor is not at her normal location, which is in this place called the Ala Moana building. And she normally works in that place, the Block Advisors. But so I had to go travel across town to go meet her at this office, which is the parent company to Block Advisors. And yeah, hopefully we get this tax situation sorted out and I don't have to deal with any of this for another year. Man, I am so guilty of being one of those people I talked about before, where you just keep buying cameras just so that you can feel like it's going to be the thing that gets you to the next level instead of using what you got. And I know so many people that wanted this camera so bad, and I got it, and you know what happened? I didn't use it. And I think the only way that you're going to use it is no one's going to tell you to use the camera. You just have to force yourself and, you know, make use of what you have and tell yourself that if you don't use it, then no one will use it. And this camera, I used it for like a month, if that, and then I just got tired with life, and I guess I had a good reason. I was slammed with Amazon and TikTok, but now that now that I'm not focusing on Amazon, and now that I have a good system in place for TikTok, I'm gonna start using this camera more, and I probably will get the Action 6, that being said, but the moral is if I get it, then I need to make sure that I use it, right? Another reason why I'm trying to use this camera is I got accepted into TikTok's program for travel, which is called TikTok Go. And so I was talking to Julie yesterday and I asked her if she'd be interested in doing a, you know, like if we could partner up together, not partner up together, but, you know, work together and start creating travel vlogs for when we travel, because you get a commission for the sales that you make on, like if you get someone to click on your link and then they book a hotel, then you get a commission for it. So it's basically like TikTok Shop, but for hotels. And I think that it would be a pretty good program for me and her to do, because like we travel at least a couple times a year. And then even if we don't travel, we live in Hawaii, so there's a bunch of different hotels, and I was thinking we could probably ask the hotels if they'd be willing to let us come and check it out, film over there, and then, you know, free advertisement for them, and then possible commission for us. And then you never know, they might give you a free stay or like perks and stuff and let you use their amenities. So yeah, and I'm not gonna be over there with my phone and asking these people, hey, can I go and film for your hotel? And then they see me bust out my pocket phone. They're like, oh, okay, this seems very professional. So yeah, my goal this year is to create multiple streams of income across a huge platform. I'm actually kind of proud right now because I'm out in public and I'm just talking to myself. Granted, there's not a lot of people here, but I'm still out here talking to myself, and there are people here. I'm not alone, but it is pretty empty. That was stressful as a mother effer. Well, so I did go to the tax lady and like, I'm so glad that I double checked her work, because she tried to give me a $40,000 write-off on my rent, and my rent wasn't even $40,000. So I was like, dude, how are you giving me this write-off? And then she was like, no, like, I'm calculating it right. And I'm like, no, like, I did the pre-calculations. All I'm asking her to do is file it for me and make sure. And like, she ended up checking, and it ended up being like $8,000. So that would have had the IRS on my ass like crazy. They would have been like, how are you writing off $40,000 when your rent was only $39,000? And I'm like, dude, yeah. So anyways, there was that, and I kept trying to explain to her that I have my own personal entity, and then I have Sumera Enterprises, which is my business entity. And she kept trying to combine my sole proprietary, my individual taxpayer, with my business account. And I'm like, she just wouldn't listen to me. But in the end, I got her to see the things that I'm trying to tell her. And then she was like, oh, you should have just told me. And I'm like, dude, I've been trying to tell you this the entire time. So long story short, I ended up owing what I thought I would owe roughly, but then there is also some fees, you know, with filing the taxes, and then some additional fees, and then some things that I couldn't write off. Like, I couldn't write off any of my clothing that I bought, which is expected because, you know, it was just an extra thing I was trying to get to write off. But moral of the story is to just keep track of every little thing that you got, because man, it's so stressful. And I should have been filing quarterly taxes, estimated taxes, which I didn't. And there was a penalty with that. And then, yeah. But anyways, that's my day. If you ever get into entrepreneurship, taxes is scary. But I'm gonna head home now. I'm glad that's over with. I'll see you guys at home. So that was my day. I'm mostly glad that it's all over and I just have to wait to pay the taxes. I do have the money available, and I'm hoping that I don't have to go through this next year. There's a lot of lessons learned, and I think I'm gonna start paying quarterly taxes, no matter how small the amount is. And I'm hoping that this time next year, I will have some taxes to pay for YouTube. So if you enjoyed the video, please like, follow, comment, because it'll help me grow this channel. See you guys in the next one. Peace.